In this tutorial, I'm going to share 7 creative gimbal moves, epic shot ideas for cinematic video. I'm not just going to show you how to do it, I'm going to tell you why and when, what lenses to use and what your gimbal setting should be. Number 1. Reveal turnaround. The purpose of this shot is to introduce the character into the frame with the potential of introducing a second character. A reveal generally works better when you bring the subject into the frame with movement. In this case, turning around looking to see who or what's behind him. If you're shooting from the right shoulder, the turn action should be from the character's left shoulder, creating opposite movement. To make this shot more dynamic, start by aiming the camera up and pull it down to elevate your character with the gyro effect. Then, as you swing around, keep them in the left third of the frame to focus the attention on what's coming into the frame and slowly level the camera out. Put your gimbal in pan, tilt, follow mode with the movement speed on custom, which I've shared in the description below. Personally, I prefer this shot on a 35mm lens, but you can also get some more parallax with a 70mm lens as seen in this example. Number 2. The character switch. One of my favorite shots often used in cinema is when the camera follows one character and switches to another character going in a different direction. This dynamic move can be used to introduce different characters or different roles, like in a busy restaurant or an office setup. Use pan follow mode with the gimbal speed set to medium since the transition happens quite quick. In this case, when following a subject from behind, using a wider lens will give you more movement with the foreground passing by, especially when a switch happens. In this case, 24mm. Number 3. The tracker reveal. If you want to take your gimbal moves to the next level, try to combine standard movements with each other in one seamless move. Here we start with the standard sidetrack. First, you only focus on the feet of your subject, but the goal is to reveal them arriving at a location. So at the right time, you go around the back and slowly pull out, revealing more of your character and how they fit into the environment. Initially, when you focus on the feet, it creates anticipation because you know nothing about the character, but doing a reveal of both in one continuous move makes it more dynamic. A 35mm will give you a good distance from the feet, but is wide enough when you pull back. This shot works better in inverted mode. In fact, I shoot about 90% of my low shots this way instead of the standard underslung mode. Put the gimbal into standby, turn it around and switch it on again. This will give you better results in pan, tilt, follow mode because the gimbal has more freedom of movement. Stay at the same level, and as you start turning around your subject, you slowly pull the stick at an angle, causing the camera to slowly pan up with your movement while you move backwards. Number 4. Point of view swing. Emulate a point of view perspective of two people dancing, and once you've established that they are in fact spinning, cutting to a quick shot of the individual's faces make for an interesting scene. How to do it? Although you can do the shot in selfie mode, you don't have to. Turn the camera towards the character and with arms stretched out as far as possible, let them spin around while keeping the lens on them. In order for the gimbal to keep up, switch the speed to fast and ask your talent to give the gimbal a subtle twist to initiate the movement. This is definitely a shot you want to capture at a higher frame rate, like 50 or 60 frames per second. On a full frame camera, a 35mm lens gives the most realistic feeling without showing the arms actually looking like it's holding something. Number 5. The ride-in. You don't have to use a bicycle, but the idea is to bring your character into a stop. Start your movement from the opposite side and do a crisscross as you sweep past. Keep your character in the right third of the frame with their head sweeping the horizon. Again, shooting from a lower angle will elevate your character, making this a great hero shot. Here the gimbal was set to pan follow mode, but that's because the director was doing tilt for me. So if you're a solo operator, it might be better to shoot in pan, tilt, follow at my custom speed. Lens choice can be anything from 35 to 70mm to achieve parallax as you move past. In this case, I shot at 50mm. Number 6. Tilt up forward push. Push forward towards your subject with the camera tilting up. Make it more epic by adding a head movement, like looking up into the lens as the camera tilts up. To make this shot special, use a longer lens, so basically anything above 70mm. You want to shoot this in 100 frames per second or more, but with that slow motion comes the slower movement. So use a good middle ground and a higher background to enhance the feeling of movement. Now before we get to the last shot, I want to tell you about a free webinar I did for Sony and their Alpha Universe platform. In this video, I break down the 12 steps to cinematic filmmaking and share my approach to producing more dynamic content. The tutorial is exclusive to the platform, so if you want to watch it, make sure you register for free, linked in the description below. Number 7. The Telephoto Tracker. It's one thing to track your subject with a gimbal, but putting on a zoom lens and shooting at the long end immediately makes a shot feel special. Here you definitely want to be shooting from a moving object to keep up with optimal stability. In this case, we used a scooter. Adding a deep foreground will make the shot feel more dynamic, but depending on your camera, you might have to pre-focus in manual and keep the same distance from your subject. Switch your gimbal to pan follow mode with my custom settings. Although I used the DJI RS3 for all these shots, the settings will also work on previous DJI gimbals and the modes are standard on all gimbals. If you have any more questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.